In a quiet village nestled among rolling hills, a young man lived with dreams larger than the endless sky. He was gifted, his hands swift and mind sharp, crafting tools and trinkets that sparkled with ingenuity. His creations drew gasps of awe from those around him, and soon, whispers of his talent spread like wildfire. Pride swelled in his chest, a warm glow that fueled his every step. But with pride came a shadow, subtle at first, creeping into his heart unnoticed. He began to crave the spotlight. Each new invention was not just a product of his skill, but a stage for his brilliance. He would unveil his work with flourish, basking in the admiration that followed. His creations grew grander, not out of necessity, but to outshine his last. The villagers, once inspired by his ingenuity, now watched with a mix of wonder and unease. His displays felt less like sharing and more like a demand for praise. One spring, the village faced a challenge. A vital bridge, worn by time and weather, creaked under the weight of passing feet. The community gathered, pooling ideas to mend it before it collapsed. The young man saw opportunity, not just to help, but to dazzle. He envisioned a structure so magnificent it would be the talk of generations. Ignoring simpler suggestions, he sketched plans for a bridge adorned with intricate carvings and towering arches, a monument to his genius. Days turned to weeks as he labored alone, refusing aid. He wanted the glory undivided. The villagers watched, their offers of help brushed aside, their concerns about time dismissed. The young man's focus narrowed to his vision, blind to the bridge's growing cracks. His hands, once steady, trembled with exhaustion, but he pushed on, driven by the image of the crowd's adoration. The rains came early that year, heavy and relentless. The river swelled, clawing at the weakened bridge. The villagers urged the young man to reinforce it with what was ready, but he scoffed, insisting his masterpiece was nearly complete. Pride drowned out reason. One night, the storm roared louder than ever, and with a groan that echoed through the valley, the bridge gave way. Timbers splintered, crashing into the churning waters below. The village was cut off, homes isolated, and supplies stranded. Dawn revealed the wreckage. The young man stood at the river's edge, his grand plans reduced to sodden scraps. Shame burned hotter than pride ever had. He saw the villagers' faces, not angry but weary, their trust in him fractured like the bridge. He wanted to vanish, to flee the weight of their disappointment, but the river's roar seemed to mock his cowardice. For the first time, he felt the cost of his arrogance. Days passed in silence. The young man retreated to his workshop, not to create, but to think. He replayed his choices, each one a brick in the wall of his failure. He saw how his need to shine had dimmed the needs of others. The villagers, meanwhile, began to rebuild. They worked together, their hands steady where his had faltered. Simple planks and sturdy beams took shape, not beautiful but strong. Their unity was a quiet rebuke to his solitary ambition. One evening, as the new bridge neared completion, the young man emerged. He carried no grand tools, no elaborate designs, just a humble bundle of ropes and pegs. He approached the villagers, his head low, and offered his help. They hesitated, their eyes searching his for sincerity. Finding it, they nodded, and he joined them. His hands, once used for spectacle, now worked in service. He tied knots, hauled wood, and listened to ideas he once would have dismissed. The work was slow, the labor shared. The young man felt no spotlight, no rush of applause, but something warmer grew within him. A quiet pride, not in himself, but in being part of something greater. The bridge took shape, unadorned but reliable, a testament to collective effort. When it was finished, the villagers crossed it together, their steps sure, their faces bright with relief. The young man lingered at the edge, watching. He felt no need to stand at the center. Time moved forward, and the young man returned to his craft. But his work changed. He built tools for farmers, mended roofs for neighbors, and taught children the skills he once hoarded. His creations were practical, born of need rather than vanity. The villagers came to rely on him again, not for his brilliance but for his steadiness. Their gratitude, quiet and genuine, was sweeter than any applause. Years later, a traveler passed through the village and paused at the bridge. It was plain, its planks weathered but firm, The traveler asked who had built it, expecting a single name. The villagers smiled and spoke of many hands, of lessons learned, of a community that stood stronger than any one man's ambition. The young man, now older, listened from a distance. He felt no urge to claim credit, no pang of envy. His heart was full, not with pride but with purpose. The lesson lingered, woven into the fabric of his days. He understood now that true greatness lay not in outshining others but in lifting them up. His hands, once raised to draw eyes, now reached out to build, to mend, to connect. The village thrived, not because of one man's brilliance but because of many hearts working as one. And in that unity the young man found a light brighter than any he had chased before. The bridge stood for years, a quiet reminder. It bore no carvings, no towering arches, but it carried the weight of trust restored. The young man crossed it often, each step a vow to never again let pride outshine purpose. His story spread, not as a tale of glory, but as a beacon for those tempted to seek the spotlight. It whispered a truth. The greatest strength lies in humility, in building not for oneself but for all.